Hello, everyone. Thread machining on CNC lathes is already familiar to you all. Previously, we learned the G92 command for constant pitch threads. You probably know how to program basic thread cycles. But using G92 requires a program line for every cutting pass. This gets messy and error-prone. Today we'll learn a smarter command: the G92 thread cycle. First, let's look at the G92 command format. G92 has two formats depending on thread type. The first one is the cylindrical threading cycle. Its format is G92 X Z-F. The second one is the tapered threading cycle. Its format is G92 X Z-F, where X, Z represents the coordinate value at the end of thread cutting. F is the size of the thread lead. The R value can be positive or negative depending on calculation. Its calculation process is half of the difference between the x-axis coordinate at the starting point and the x-axis coordinate at the end point of the tapered thread cutting. If the starting diameter is less than the end diameter, then the R value is a negative value, while the opposite is positive. For the calculation of R value, the size should be determined according to different lengths to ensure the correctness of the taper of the thread. Next, we will explain the motion trajectory of the G92 command and the process description. The G92's cutting trajectory is similar to the G90 instructions we learned earlier. Either cylindrical thread cutting or taper thread cutting follows a closed trajectory. The tool moves rapidly from the start of the cycle along the x-axis to the start of the thread. Then cut in the negative direction of the z-axis to the end of the thread at a feed speed, moving 1 lead distance per revolution. And the tool backs along the x-axis to the diameter of the starting point of the cycle. Finally, it returns to the start of the loop along the positive z-axis to prepare for the next cycle. In G92 loop programming, you should pay attention to the correct selection of loop starting points. In general, the start of the x-axis cycle is taken 1 to 2 millimeters from the diameter of the outer circle surface. The starting point of the loop in the z-axis is selected according to the size of the imported value, which is usually 2 to 3 millimeters apart. Here we take the M30 pitch 1.5 millimeters thread as an example to learn about the writing of thread processing procedures. We determine the amount of back cut per thread cutting tool by thread parameter calculation. They are 1.1 millimeters, 0.5 millimeter, 0.1 millimeter, and 0.1 millimeter, respectively. The starting point of cycle is set at X32.0, Z3.0. The procedure for each cutting is G92 X28.9Z minus 22.0 F1.5 G92 X28.4 Z minus 22.0 F1.5 G92 X28.3 Z minus 22.0 F1.5 and G92 X28.2 Z minus 22.0 F1.5. When writing the program, we can simplify the program because the G92 instruction is a modal instruction. It's acceptable that each cutting program only write instruction X. In order to ensure processing safety and ensure thread accuracy, when we use the G92 command, we need to pay attention to the following points. First, during thread cutting, when the cycle pause key is pressed, the tool is immediately retracted in line with the slash, goes back to the starting point of X-axis, and goes back to the starting point of Z-axis. No additional pauses can be made during the retraction. Second, the G92 loop is executed in single-segment mode. The loop start button must be pressed 4 times for each loop executed. Third, when the G92 instruction is executed, at the end of the threading process, the tool will retract diagonally in a direction of nearly 45 degrees. Fourth, during the execution of the G92 command, the feed speed multiplier is independent of the spindle speed multiplier. Have you learned the G92 command?